unscheduled stop, unexpected. Still technically not really early February. I guess maybe it's mid-February now. But here in the Seattle area or northwest, I'm an hour and a half northeast of Seattle. We've had this ridiculous, redonkulous weather for a while now. Like, I guess it's a compounding of a bunch of drought periods, but all these long stretches of sunny, beautiful days. This is the last one now for a while. These next couple of weeks promise to be pretty gloomy and classic, more classic Northwest winter style. But I thought I'd take a quick scan around at some of the stuff down in that flower field. It's really pretty right now. The crocus are doing great. They got all the bees swarming on them. And just a lot of stuff coming up that would not normally be up this time of year. Hopefully that won't turn out to be some sort of problem, right? Where we end up having some freezing weather and some of these things get killed. I don't know. We shall see. Okay, let's see what's next. All right, just stepping out the east door here. I, for the first time ever, pruned my blueberry here. We'll see how well that helps it. There's my doggy, Tiny Dancer. Not a lot to show here. These guys coming in nice and thick. These crocus were really beautiful 2 weeks ago. Crocus are the interesting flower, right? They're quite a gamble because they'll come up and they'll stay folded and will not open until there's sunshine. And if there's no sunshine and for like 7 to 10 days, then that flower is done for. It will not survive. This is fun and interesting. This honeysuckle is so lush with green leaves. Yeah, same question, same issue, whether that's going to be a problem or not. I don't know if a honeysuckle is happy if it gets down like into the 20s or something like that. Got a couple pots here that I had planted some flowering sweet pea vines in. Never actually flowered. I got them started too late. So I put daffodils and crocus in them. Added a bunch of lilies in here for more June and July action. A bunch of different varieties of both Asiatic and Oriental, and everything else is doing great. All the tulips are coming up. This run along the base of the cottage wall is doing really well. I just put in 40 anemones every 6 inches right along the front edge of that. I've definitely decided, it turns out the anemone corm, it really needs a couple years. Its first year is not very interesting. You might get one flower out of it. But then the next year it comes in strong with, if it survives and is in a happy spot. I'll have one I'll show you later that has it's had about 8 blooms. It was blooming in January. Just for crazy. Yeah, and I've done so much stuff. I realized this past summer what a dearth of color there was around my place come later July and then August, especially in September. And so I got on a kick to get perennials in the ground here and there, which, it's the sort of kick that brings to mind the old classic, when is the best time to plant a fruit tree? 10 years ago. And when's the second best time? Today, right now. Anyhow, these perennials that I planted, there's probably about 50 of them that went in the ground all around, but it's such a big area. It's going to be a long time before they really start making a big visual difference, anything interesting. A lot of them are, probably about 20 of them are flowering shrubs of various sorts, bushes, and then quite a few that are more like ground cover things that are going to be smaller. But I'm in this for the long game. This is definitely a sport that either requires or cultivates, as in creates a greater sense of patience, a capacity for being chill about outcomes, which has not been a quality of my nature in my life, really, like at all. So it's good for me. The rock bed here, fantastic. This is so plush and packed with so many good things. I added more lilies across the back. I put in some Carl Forster feather grasses, decorative grasses along the very back. Some new alliums, some camassia maybe are in here. I don't know what those are going to be like. They're actually up in here. What I've done, is I've actually claimed a bunch of areas this last summer that were really just had been disregarded because I was focusing on the low-hanging fruit, you know, the easy stuff to get to, the easier soils and things like that. But like this whole area up above the sedum wall here, this area up here, which is pretty scruffy, but it gets great sun. That's where I put 5 of the perennial flowering shrubs. I planted a new tree that you can't really see. It's right in the center there. It's an eastern red bud, which is going to grow big and beautiful. I also planted quite a few daffodils and other flowering things all around up there. And I'm going to be, probably in March, planting a lot of seeds for things like hollyhock and penstemon and other stuff. I can hear the wind blowing on my microphone. This unseasonably warm weather is producing all kinds of early leafing out of my clematis. So it's going to be a great year, a banner year, I predict, for the clematis. Finally, there are 4 new ones that have been planted in here that are going to be beautiful. 2 of them got their own pot. I took this big pot from the deck where I start the video and I pulled it out here, and it's dedicated entirely to this one clematis with a few little crocus, but they won't get down, they won't interfere with the root structures at all. And then the same thing over here. This good sized pot has a clematis in the center here, and you can see it's already beginning to leaf out right there. Yes, it is. And same thing here with crocus. And I'll probably plant some anemones around the periphery. But yeah, you won't really see it up in here. I'll shoot another video when they're flowering more, but there's about 20 places up on this hillside, little clumps and clusters, smatterings I call them, of various types of daffodils and camassia. And that's like, would have been great to have done that when I moved in here 10 years ago, right? Where those things would have had a chance to spread out and make big clumps of flowers. Now I get to wait 10 years for that. That's fine. This is one of the new projects. This whole area, I did a full tilling and digging and weeding and clearing and composting and fertilizing and mixing and planting with all kinds of good stuff. Little perennial shrub in the center there. I don't remember the name of it. A bunch of daffodils, a bunch of ground covers. Here's another one of those random daffodil smatterings. I probably did about 20 of those up and down along my driveway and just here and there. And they're going to be little kind of unexpected splashes of color. And this is the real motive for coming out and shooting the video now, is the crocus and some daffodil even. Really delightful, really surprising. And the bees are out, they're swarming. Bees love the crocus flowers. Yeah. We'll go down and take a look at my flower field area. It has quite a few of these flowers, although it's pretty clear that there's some damage from the moles. Oh, sounds like my neighbor is arriving for her visit. So I will pause this for a second here, say hi to her, and then finish the video. Okay, that's my friend and neighbor Deanne, has come up to see the crocuses and have a visit. She's fantastic, such good company. When she came to my rescue the other day, I slid and fell off of a shed. I'll show you where in the video. And I fell 18 feet to the ground. Pretty stupid. And whacked the back of my head on a rock. And I have staples in there now. 8 staples. And so fortunate. Could have been so much worse. To be 62 years old and take a tumble like that is not the smartest thing to do. It's not the best management of your personal space. See if we can get the bee sounds. So yeah, this area is 500 square feet. And what I had pictured for this area was a density of crocus. It would be maybe something like what we see right here. But we have all these big gaps now. All these places where there's almost none at all. And I think that's probably the consequence of the big mole fiasco from a year ago. And so I'm going to make notations, take some measurements and find out where those places are exactly, and then come back this next fall and just buttress the crocus a little bit, because yeah, like this is just so not what I was imagining. And you know that I've said this before on these videos, but the project here is that this is the beginning, and I'm figuring out just how to plant what and how much of it and so on, and then I'm going to continue in strips until I've done this entire 2,500 square feet. So I would think in about 10 years, this whole field will be covered in these blooms. At that point, it'll be just this gorgeous humming symphony of bees. You'll be able to stand in the middle of it and hear them all around you. Surround sound wonderfulness. Whole bunch of sweet williams coming in here from seeds I planted from a shade-loving annual and perennial seed packet that I spread here. And so glad to see that these guys all are getting established, because I like them very much. And this is another new area. It's 100 square feet, 8 by 12 here just to the east of this lower lawn. This was a lot of work, getting it all prepped, digging down deep and pulling out all the crap that was in there, roots and things, turning it all over. And this is filled thick, planted thick with a couple of varieties of daffodils and a whole bunch of different types of hyacinths. Yeah, so that is about it. We can just take a brief scan here along this area. I put in 20 of these Martagon lilies, which are they hang downwards. It'll be great because you'll be able to look up into their blooms along here. And those won't be coming up, and they won't be blooming until, of course, June. But meanwhile, things are looking lush and beautiful. And there's the shed in question. That's the thing that I slipped on. I was standing up on top of the roof, and I slipped, landed on my butt probably, and went off the edge of that and fell to the ground below, 18 feet, where I punched quite a good hole in the ground with my feet. And then I must have fallen backwards and smacked my back of my head on a rock.
which, it could have been much, much worse. So I've been enjoying a certain amount of soreness and gratitude in roughly equal proportions. Let's see here. Yeah, I just don't think that the beauty of this really comes through in the phone, on the camera. Oh well. I'll keep working on it. Give me 10 years. Be patient. Thank you.